Welcome to When Music Matters from VAC. I'm Kevin Hayes. This being the first of our series of programs, a few words of introduction are in order. This program is not meant to be long and wordy and ramble. It's meant to be focused and topical and relatively economical in time. You can watch one episode or 30 episodes, kind of like eating popcorn. Just take what you want and stop when you're full. They should be around 5 minutes in duration. They should focus on one topic. We're going to cover issues of electronics, components, music and human perception, how your system for music reproduction comes together. And in fact, we very much welcome your questions you'd like to see answered or discussed on When Music Matters. So, for the first program, it seems appropriate to look at VAC. What does the V stand for? It stands for valve. Valve, as some of you may know, is the British and Australian word for vacuum tube. And of course, VAC has made equipment that has always used vacuum tubes in the audio circuit paths. Now, why is that? Why vacuum tubes? Well, if you look at the technologies of tube and transistor, they're both extremely mature technologies. In the case of the vacuum tube, over a century old. In the case of the transistor, getting around 70 years of age. And as of this date, the most linear amplifying device ever invented is the vacuum tube. Now, by linear, we mean when you put something in, you get the same thing out. A visual analogy might be a mirror that is very flat and very clear. The best linearity comes from a triode vacuum tube. The second best comes from the better pentode vacuum tubes. Following this, you see the semiconductor classes, the MOSFETs, not quite as good generally, bipolar transistors, much worse. Transistors, by and large, want to act like switches as opposed to like linear amplifying elements. And in that context, they're perfectly appropriate for digital equipment, for power management in automobiles, things of that nature. So it's a question of picking the right tool for the right job. And for the best of audio reproduction, the vacuum tube is still the best sounding way to go. And that's why they are preeminent still in recording studios, high-end audio systems, and for slightly different reasons in guitar amplification. It is worth noting that the vacuum tube types we use are all very common types, and one of the reasons for that is I want you to be able to retube your amplifier 50 years from now. I want you to be able to leave your VAC component to your grandchildren in your will. Some of the vacuum tube types we use have been in production now for approaching 90 years. There's a lot of longevity, a lot of stability to that, which is quite at contrast with the semiconductor world. It is not uncommon for new semiconductor types to be manufactured only for a period of 3 or 6 months and then be discontinued and never be available again. It's a real challenge for those working in the semiconductor side of the analog amplification art. And it's interesting, there are some companies out there, older companies, who have taken pride in being able to keep their older solid-state equipment running, now hitting the 30 or 40 year mark. But interestingly, every time the amplifier goes back to that company for its repair, they wind up putting a different circuit in it because they can't get the parts that were in the product 10 years previously. So it's quite a contrast that when you lose a vacuum tube in a good tube amplifier, all you have to do is remove the tube, plug a new one in, and you're running. It's actually a great virtue, and the fact that these tubes have been made for so many decades in so many places from so many manufacturers really gives you a very strong base on which to keep your tube amplifier running many, many years into the future. So just a few introductory notes here. Again, we would like to hear your questions, things you would like to have answered. Please write to us at info@vac-amps.com, info@vac-amps.com, and we look forward to addressing your thoughts and questions and concerns in upcoming issues of When Music Matters. We hope to have something for you every week or two. It'll be publishing a little bit on an irregular schedule initially, but we'll get this rolling and look to have some good fun and good information together. Thank you.